Hello and welcome to A Little Crafting. My name is Annie and this is my vlog, podcast, whatever you want to call it, about my creative endeavours. That usually consists of knitting, weaving, spinning, yarn dyeing, what else? Sewing, embroidery and anything else that I might pick up along the way. It has been quite a long time since I last recorded, so I last recorded an episode at the end of August and published it early September. So it is now the 21st of October, so it has been a while. I have been busy, life got busy, we went on holiday and all sorts. But thank you for those of you who are sticking around and watching every episode, and welcome to anyone who is watching for the first time. I noticed that this is episode 50, so we have a bit of a milestone today, 50 episodes of the podcast. I've also published other videos on tutorials and things like that, which I haven't done for a very, very long time. But thanks for sticking with me, for those of you who've been here throughout all 50 episodes and who've watched all of them. If you want to find me on social media, I'm a_little_crafting on Instagram and Ankiwoo on Ravelry. And I will just get started. So if anyone watched the last episode, you'll know that I made a couple of promises that I'd have some things finished. And I do. It has taken a month and a half, but I do have them finished. So the first one is the Lunar Tee. This is a pattern by Charissa Lam, and it is done. I've knit this out of some undyed yarn that I had from my yarn dyeing. It is 85% superwash merino and 15% bio nylon, so that's biodegradable nylon. And it is very, very soft. It's actually a light fingering weight yarn, so it looks pretty nice in my view, and it's very thin to knit with, I suppose, is the one thing to consider with that. But I really, really love this pattern. I love the way that it looks on me. The construction was really nice and simple. You can adapt it to your body shape. So for example, I didn't do all of the decreases for the waist, and I made it a bit longer for myself. But it's a raglan, and I love the way that the broken 2x2 rib works with these raglan increases, and then also kind of down the body and the sleeves. It's taken me a long time to finish this off, but I don't really know why. I think it's because I started it in September last year, and then as soon as autumn rolled around, I wanted to knit cozy things instead of effectively a little t-shirt. But this is going to be so wearable. I'm really glad I opted to knit it in this just undyed off-white yarn. What I was thinking originally was actually that I could dye it after I'd knit it, but this is going to go so well with loads of things. I can layer over it, I can wear a little cardigan or even a blazer for work over the top of this, and I feel great in it, which is definitely a plus. So I'll stand up a little bit. I've just got my jogging bottoms on today. I'm having one of those cozy days, but I just absolutely love the way that this looks, especially this part up here. I finished it this morning in terms of weaving in the ends. I have noticed there is a slight hole that I need to deal with once I'm done recording this, but overall so happy with this pattern. I've put this on and worn it for a little bit and then immediately wanted to cast another one on because I just want more of them. But I'm going to give myself a break from the fingering weight top situation at the moment. I am not going to tell, well, I think I know the needle sizes that I used, but typically I tend to have to size down a lot. So it has created quite a loose fabric in terms of the 2x2 broken rib stitch. but I think that's a mixture of the yarn I used as well as my gauge. I'm generally a very loose knitter. If I wasn't a loose knitter, I'd probably have had to knit a size up, but yeah, I'm really happy with it anyway. It's a little bit see-through, but I don't think it's see-through enough that I have a problem with it, if you see what I mean, especially if I'm wearing it with something else over the top. I love the high neck. It's something that I think really suits me for some reason. There's a lot of jumpers and sweater patterns that have quite low necklines, and I just honestly just really don't like that kind of shape on me, so I do quite like a tight high neck. And in general, super easy to knit, basic raglan. You have a bit of a break when you've got your broken rib row because you've got one row of just straight knitting, and then you switch to knit 2, purl 2. So it's nice and easy, very nice and easy to follow and adapt, as I said. And yeah, overall, I want more of these. Let's see how often I end up wearing it and what I think once I've worn it after a little while. But pretty sure I'm going to have to cast one on next summer as my t-shirt knit for the season. I'll try and figure out what other colours I want these in. But yeah, absolutely obsessed. I went for quite short sleeves, mostly because I think this very fitted style, again, suits me quite a bit, especially the kind of short sleeved. The pattern, I think, or at least in the photos, it looks like they've got quite a long sleeve in comparison to what I've opted for, but I wanted a nice short one. Yeah, highly recommend, really love it. Love the size that I've managed to knit. I've made a note of the needle sizes that I've used, so that I can cast another one on when I get around to it. And I believe I chose the second smallest size for this. Again, quite fitted on me, so if I wanted something looser, I'd really have to go up a couple of sizes probably. But I really like this fit with the rib. I think it looks great and I feel really comfortable in it, so that's all good. Maybe I should do something with some actual dyed yarn that I've had sitting here for years as my backdrop. Yeah, that is a big tick for me. Next up, I'm going to talk about my works in progress, and I have been on a bit of a finishing kick, I suppose. I've dug out a few of my old whips and decided to try and finish them off because they've been languishing for too long. The first one of these is my Weekender by Andrea Mowry. I have wanted to knit this pattern for years. I initially had some other yarn planned for it, I think, and then I changed my mind when I knit my Jupiter crop out of Durarium Natura Ulysse, and my favourite colour out of that was the light blue, which is the Ciel colour. So I have been knitting this in Durarium Natura Gilliatt, which is the, I guess, Aran or worsted weight version of that yarn. And at the moment it looks like one big square. So that's effectively because of the way that you knit it. I'm just going to get rid of the needle holder because it's clanking. So it's knit from the bottom up. Let me show you this. So from the bottom here upwards, you have this nice detail in the center, and you actually knit most of it inside out so that you don't have to purl rows. So I've turned it the other way round for this section because I'm working on the neckline now, and it doesn't really matter which way I knit it because I'm knitting back and forth. But this, let me untangle. So this is the side of the body that I've finished. So I've got a neckline here, but I'll need to attach the shoulders once I've done the other side, and then pick up the stitches for the sleeves as well. As you can see, this is quite a boxy sweater. It has drop shoulders, so the sleeves should probably start about here on me, I think. And one of the things that was preventing me from really carrying on with this was that I thought it would be too big for me. I think, having just put it round me so far, this should be fine, but I am not sure how much it is going to grow. So let's see. But I've whizzed through effectively that much in a week, and also almost done the other side. So I've knit about 1.5 inches of that. So going from a really fine fingering weight top to an Aran to worsted weight sweater is amazing, because you suddenly go, wow, this is fast. I can get loads done really quickly. And yeah, like I said, I only picked this up a week ago. I finished this during the week, and then I started working on this one and did a bit last night and this morning. But yeah, I'm really happy with the colour. I absolutely love this colour. That's why I decided to knit this in this colour, Ciel by Durerum Natura in Gilliatt. It's my favourite yarn, as you'll know already if you've followed me for a while. And I'm looking forward to having it done, just so that I can see how it actually looks on me. So that's the downside of doing a bottom-up sweater, is that you can't tell how it's going to look. Whereas this top, for example, I thought was going to be really small on me. I thought it was going to be tiny. I was going to have to give it away. But when you're able to try it on, you can see how it looks. This one is a drop shoulder sweater, and I have made a drop shoulder sweater before. I've got the Boxy by Hohi Locatelli, which I believe, if I remember correctly, is drop shoulder. It's been a long time since I've worn it. There seem to be a lot of drop shoulder sweaters published in terms of patterns recently. I'm not convinced it's the right style for me. So this is an experiment. Let's see how it goes. If it turns out that it fits me nicely and everything, it'll be great. If not, it might be one of those sweaters that I just wear around the house when it's cold, because it will be so warm and I love the yarn. But either way, having been on hiatus for about a year, I've picked it up again. I'm determined to finish it. Should have it done pretty quickly based on the speed that I'm able to knit the Aran weight yarn. So yeah, look forward to having that done to talk to you about in the next episode. I have made this a bit longer than the pattern calls for, generally because I know with Andrea Mowry patterns, she has quite a short torso. She explained it in one of her weekly I'll Knit If I Want To episodes. And I have quite a long torso and short legs relatively, so I thought, you know what, I'm gonna opt to make it a bit longer, just because although having a shorter boxy looks good on some people, I don't think it looks good on me. So yeah, that's what I've gone for. Otherwise I'm just knitting it to pattern pretty much, and yeah, working on the top ribbing at the back next. Something I wanted to mention is that I have been doing a lot of tubular bind offs recently. So the sleeves and the bottom of this top are all in tubular bind off. The neckline of this weekender sweater is in tubular bind off. I am so used to doing it now. It just goes tubular bind off. I know exactly what I'm doing to sort that out. So I'm glad I've got into a comfortable position with that bind off, because it used to be that if anything said tubular, I'd just go, oh, I don't know what to do. What on earth am I getting done here? But I do think it looks nice. I'm not totally convinced it's my favourite, but that's, yeah, something that I'm testing out really. So yeah, I know, like I said, Andrea Mowry absolutely loves a tubular cast on and a tubular bind off. They are a nightmare to cast on, as I found out with this sweater, having cast on the tubular bind off, the tubular cast on about 6 times, I imagine, at the beginning of this, because I'm pretty sure I sized down this sweater when I started. I knit a bit and then realised it was going to be too big, and then went, okay, no, I'll make the smallest size. I know that because I got really confused when I looked back at the pattern and I'd highlighted the second size up, but I didn't have the right amount of stitches. So yeah, so I'm looking forward to having this done, to see what it looks like on me, to see what happens with the sizing. I'm concerned that it might grow quite a lot. One of my other makes in Dorarium Natura Juliet did grow a lot. That was my mosaic cardigan. I can't remember who it's by, but yeah, it's quite big. But let's see, it's an experiment. You can't progress if you don't try things. So that is that one. And oh, look at this blue, it's just beautiful. I am keeping this project in my bag by Antler and Acorn. I don't believe she has any bags like this left these days. It's a few years old now. I presume the fabric isn't available anymore, but I love this bag, and she does have plenty of other bags on the website as well. I'll link to it in the description below. That is from Etsy. So that is one of the projects that I've been working on quite considerably. The second one is something I just cast on before I went away on holiday, and that is another Sophie shawl. So I am knitting the shawl version here rather than scarf version because I wanted something longer, but I'm pretty much just going with the instructions and doing it based on the amount of yarn I have rather than the actual just pattern recommendations, which is an option in the pattern. I do think whilst this is a simple pattern, it is worth buying just for those kind of like guidelines. It's a little bit crinkled there. I've not done a huge amount, but I'm just kind of plodding along with this in between things, and I'll be happy to have a nice turquoisey teal blue one when it's done. So this is out of my hand-dyed yarn. It is non-superwash merino, organic as well, I think. And this is, yeah, some yarn that I dyed. I just, every time I dye 2 skeins of DK, I think, oh, that could be another Sophie scarf. Or every time I find another 2 skeins of DK, I think that could be another Sophie scarf or shawl. And yeah, excuse me. I absolutely love it. So really nice and straightforward. I love the way the edging is with the I-cord. I feel like every single shawl should have this edge because it looks so neat. And I've got my little pumpkin stitch marker there, which I can't remember who it's by, but again, I'll pop it in the description below. My husband bought those for me last year for Christmas. I have a little set. Yeah, and I'm just knitting away at this when I get the chance to, really. It's really nice again to see how the kind of tonal yarn come out with that slight variation in colour across the scarf or shawl. And that is that one. I do find I still have, even though I know the pattern by heart, I still have to use my electronic stitch counter or row counter, which is this one here. I get these from Woolstack. They are, I think, Addy ones, but you can probably get non-branded ones. Really, really great device. I probably need a few more because I sometimes find that I have too many projects on the go and they're all used up, and then I want to use one for something else and I go, no. I've had one that stopped working, which was actually the Addy branded one, but most of these are labelled as Addy and they don't come with any kind of markings on them to say that they are. This one's, I think, the first one I got because the button is very, very worn. But these are absolutely fantastic if you're a knitter that struggles to keep track of how many rows they've done between increases, decreases, whatever. Then this is a great little tool. You just pop it on your finger and you just press the button every time you get to the end of the row. I'll try and remember to link that in the description below as well. This little bag is one of my favourites. It is a round bottom bag by Quince Pie. I don't think she's making them anymore if I remember correctly, but absolutely love it. Perfect for 2 balls of what have I got in there? DK weight yarn, and yeah, nice and easy to carry around on holiday as well. Next up is not a work in progress. It's actually something that I'm about to start, having finished this top. I have been craving some colour work, and I am going to be casting on the Snefald shawl by Fibre Tales Lega. It is a really beautiful triangular colourwork shawl that is knit in the round and then steeked. So this will be my first proper steeking adventure. I've done a couple of steeks just on swatches and squares that, you know, weren't especially hard work or anything like that. So this will be my proper object that needs a steek. But I really love the idea of being able to knit that colourwork in the round and then cutting it to make the shape. So I have 4 colours of Knit by Numbers. This is the original Knit by Numbers, which is merino, Falklands merino. John Arbon have now discontinued this yarn and have created a BFL version. So once I've knit this, I can only attest to this particular version, which isn't available anymore unless you can find it in D-Stash rather than the new one. But I love the fact that you can customize your colouring so much with the shades that they have. So this is going to be my main colour. I think I'll need all 100 grams of this one. This one is number 3, Knit by Numbers 3. I don't know if the colours, I assume that the colourways are going to match in terms of the new yarn. So this is, yeah, kind of a dark charcoal. I'll pop a picture here so that you can see how the shawl actually looks. So this one will be for the outer ribbing, and I'm not sure if there's some at the top. I can't actually see in the photos, but this will be the most used colour. Then I am going for this green, which will actually probably be the more prominent one because it will be in the middle section. Then I'm going for the pink instead of what Lega has as the, I think she's got a mustard colour in hers. This one, if I can get the ball band out without destroying my yarn ball, is number 128. Yeah, I think this is one of the more recent colours that they've put together. The green was, oops, really badly wound balls here. I might have to redo them before I start. 47. And then lastly, for the same white sections as they've got in the Snefald shawl in the pictures, I'm just using a kind of an off-white, very similar to this, which is number 55. So that will be my colour palette. I'm storing this in my Hide and Hammer number 3, yeah, 3 bag. It's either 3 or 8, I can't remember. But that's what we're gonna have in terms of a palette. So just trying to show you all of them. There you go. So that should be really lovely, I hope. I was just deciding which order to knit them in the other day before I cast on the swatch. So I will be doing that shortly, and I'll definitely show you how I'm progressing with that in a bit, or in the next episode, hopefully. So yeah, that is actually all the knitting content I have at the moment, but let's move on to other crafts as well. So I have been a bit obsessed with spinning recently. I believe I showed you a couple of spins on the bobbins last time, or I showed you this one finished, which is a spindles and stitches spin, and this one on the bobbins, but I have now plied this yarn, and I think they go so well together. So my idea was to make the Attune Shawl, again by Andrea Mowry, but my other spin that I did to go with these doesn't really quite go. So what I'm actually going to do is dye some more fibre myself, because I have the capacity to do that, and try and do sort of almost a darker version of this, and also try and do something like a proper greeny colour so that I can see what it looks like either side. So either have a dark version of this or a light version, or a very green version, a bit like this. I'll probably not have time to do any dyeing for quite a while, so this might be on hiatus for a bit, but that's my plan generally. But yeah, really happy with how these came out. Otherwise, I've done a 3-ply because I really like the tonal 3-plies in general, which is what I did for the top one, and then I had to replicate it to get the same kind of yarn for the other one. So hopefully a tonal 3-ply in kind of greens would be really great for this. And then at some point I will cast on an Attune Shawl, which I was supposed to cast on for Tour de Fleece. That was a long time ago now, but we will get there. I am going to be patient with myself a little bit here. So yeah, that's my first kind of spinning achievement so far. The next one I did is this massive skein. This is 200 grams, and I was actually trying out my jumbo flyer plier, which I got with my bonus this year and have only just got around to actually using for a 200 gram skein. So this is one strand of yarn. So this isn't like 2 skeins wound together or anything like that. This is one continuous yarn, which I really love, because that means that if I was to spin for a sweater, I can make 2 of these, and that'll probably be great. And then you only have 1 join in the process. So yeah, this is Lonk, I think, from World of Wool. It is a very stiff yarn, and so I am probably not going to make anything that would be close to skin. What I am thinking of doing is maybe making a bag, maybe weaving it and then making a bag. And I did hand dye this yarn as well, so I love this colour, and I'm thinking it will make a really lovely tote bag or something like that. It should be pretty strong yarn. It's a 3-ply as well, and I am pretty sure I'll be able to use it as the warp as well as the weave, because it's not gonna, you know, break very easily. So yeah, that's how that looks. I'm a little bit disappointed it's not softer wool, but ultimately that was my choice. I just went for, oh, I've got this this fibre, I'll just dye it and see what happens. But I do absolutely adore this colour. I need to dye some more of this and see how it comes out. I've actually got 2 skeins just behind me that I can see to the left of the camera that are the same colour. I'm going to probably make a Sophie shawl out of them. But yeah, this was an interesting spin. It felt quite tough at times, but yeah, I'm still learning, so that's all good. And the last spin I have done recently is a 2-ply of my Hedgehog Fibres club. I've so far subscribed to 3 months of the Hedgehog Fibres Club, and then stopped for 3 months, and then subscribed again for 3 months. So this is the last pack of the first lot. I can't remember what month they are. They're probably not available anymore anyway. But this was super fun. It has so many colours in it, and when you skein it up, I don't think you really see the full amount. But this is what it looks like in the skein. Again, 2-ply, really soft. It's a mix of fibres, but they're all super soft. I'm pretty sure there was some silk in there as well. I'm actually going to undo the skein that I've wound just to be able to show you the variety of colour combinations. But this barber poling looks absolutely gorgeous. I love the oranges especially, but yeah, this is kind of how it looks. Let me see if I can get a proper close-up with my camera. Come on. Hoping you can at least see all the colours that we've got in here. So there are some blues and turquoises, there's orange, there's pink even, there's a lot of yellow as well. And I'm thinking it's going to have to be some sort of colour work, like I did before with my last set of Hedgehog Fibres fibre, just because it's so colourful. I figured that's probably the best way to show it all off. Or I could do something, because it is going to, you know, it's not going to be multicoloured as in stripy, as in short sections. It's going to be quite long sections of colour because of the way that it's spun. So I'm also thinking I could do something like, would I have enough yarn for a muzzle bra? Maybe could do one side in the colourful and one side in a plainer yarn. I'm really considering it, because it would be really interesting to see how this knits up just all in one go. Yeah, I love this kind of spinning. I think this is why spinning is amazing to me, is that I can create like this sort of almost spin cycle style barber poley yarn that varies in colour so much. And yeah, it's really interesting. And it just, honestly, I spun this up in 2 days, and I was working one of those days, so yeah, I only had the evening available. It's so quick. It's absolutely lovely to spin yarn. I never thought I would get into this if I hadn't inherited my grandmother's spinning wheel. So yeah, that is the joy of spinning your own yarn. It's very meditative. I never look at my phone when I'm spinning. I often have something on in the background, like another podcast, and then just go and then get addicted, especially when it's different colours, colour changing. It's so nice to just go, oh, I've got to the next one and the next one, and it just looks fab afterwards. Like, this is just so fun. Yeah, lots of yellow. I'm not used to yellow, so let's see how it goes. But I think something super multicoloured like that is just enjoyable to spin. This one was also pretty fun. I think solid colours are probably less fun, but I do have an acquisition to talk about on the hand spinning side. So it was my birthday a couple of weeks ago on the 10th of October, and I saw this selection of fibre online. So this is hand-dyed Polworth combed wool tops in mini bundles, so quite similar to what you get in a Hedgehog Fibres club, just a mixture of loads of colours. These are all Polworth though, so I know they're the same kind of fibre. And this is from Firbeck Fibre Art, and it's 250 grams. One of the things I struggle with Hedgehog Fibres is how expensive it is, especially for the UK, because it's in euros. They're in Ireland, so they're part of the European Union still, and therefore the exchange rate isn't very good for us these days. So seeing something like this online, I think it was £25 for 250 grams. So you're thinking you're like £1 per gram. And this is going to be so much fun to just spin together. I'll probably put it in a dedicated colour order and try and do a 2-ply. I am not sure what I'm going to do with this otherwise. 250 grams of yarn, let's see. But I'm going to have fun. So that's the important thing. Yeah, so that was a little treat to myself. Like I said, I also ordered some fibre to dye. I've got 200 grams of that. It is just Corridale, partly because I know there was Corridale in these. So I wanted to do something that was a similar fibre. And then I have something else to show you fibre-wise that I bought from Unravel, which I'll talk about in a bit. That's all my spinning finished items for now. So we will go on to cross stitch, because that is something else I have been doing at the moment. And I am pleased to say that I have finished my D&D Ampersand. So this is what it looks like right now. I've still got my needles and my needle minder on there. This one's from Vikas Space, from one of the kits. And I haven't finished off the back yet. Super messy. But I'm so happy with this. It looks great. It is a cross stitch pattern by Aliton Embroidery. Again, link in the description below. And I had so much fun changing the colours. So I recommend doing a colour gradient because it just keeps you going. It's super nice, great design. And I will have this on my wall at some point. What I need to do is finish off the back, put a felt section on it, and then it will sit flush against the wall in the embroidery hoop. Because I think that looks really good too. So yeah, super happy to have finished that. I actually finished it whilst I was on holiday. Took it with me on the plane and everything. First time I've taken sewing needles and small tiny scissors on a plane, and security was absolutely fine. No issue whatsoever. I went through 3 airports. So yeah, Gatwick, Malaga, Amsterdam. And all okay. I had some small scissors about that size. I had several needles, as you can tell from there, and no problem at all. I also had no problem with my knitting needles, but I typically switch my normal ones out for wooden ones just in case, because I don't want to lose my fancy needle tips. But I have absolutely never had any problems with those. I think it's partly because they just look like the ends of pencils. And yeah, I feel like more and more people are in security at airports are more accepting of things like this. I mean, it's not a nefarious weapon, it's not a knife, it's something that you're using as a tool for a craft. So hopefully the problems are getting less and less with taking knitting needles on planes. But yeah, really happy with that. Just need to do the finishing touches. But I'm counting as finished because the cross stitch is done. Yeah, it used a lot of floss, so I used DMC stranded cotton, but I have a big box of that now, so I'm, you know, quite easily able to pick up another cross stitch pattern and have those colours available to me. Yeah, happy that that's done. I have also been doing a little bit more embroidery, so I took another kit that I got from Vikas Space on holiday as well. I can't remember what the actual name of the pattern is, but this is the one that I am stitching, or that I have been stitching. It's one of the lakes, and yeah, enjoying it again. I'm not sure my stitches are as neat. I did the Mount Rainier one, which is my needle minder as well, previously, and I think my stitches were much neater, but I also think I was using a different type of thread for those. But yeah, this is again very meditative. I did some of this on the plane on the way back, and again enjoying it. It's much quicker than cross stitch to do, because you kind of find yourself just going, okay, I'll do a section, and then suddenly you're at the end of it and you go, okay, great, next bit. I was switching colours quite a lot and realising I had to cut thread quite a lot whilst I was on the plane, and I was concerned that the person next to me might have been a bit worried that I had scissors with me. But yeah, this is how it's looking so far. I think it will look more cohesive once I've got all of the stitching done as well, because it's sort of printed on the fabric in different colours here. I feel like it makes it look different, or like it looks like it definitely changes when you hold it up. But I will probably continue this as one of my sort of going away projects, so it might be quite some time before I pick this up again, just because it's very nice and easy to take on holiday with me. It's quite small and it fits in a little bag quite nicely. Highly recommend Vikas patterns, especially if you're a lover of mountains like I am. And my last kit came in this little case zip bag. She hasn't got any kits due soon. She's just finished a release, I think, but keep an eye out. You can also just get the patterns as PDFs and stitch them up on some fabric that you already have. So yeah, that's something else I was working on. In terms of acquisitions, I have a cross stitch acquisition. So this has a story with it. Basically, we were staying with our friends in the Netherlands and went to the local market. They live in a small village in the eastern Netherlands, just next to the border with Germany. And there, yeah, in this little village, we went to the market, walked a little bit further, and I went, oh my god, there's a cross stitch shop. And this shop was absolutely amazing. I'll show you some pictures, but literally like a cross stitch or embroiderer's absolute dream. There was so much. And this lady, I'm not sure how to pronounce the name, but I'm guessing it's something like Joke. It's Joke, owns this shop. She creates all of the patterns that they have for sale. Like, my god, there were hundreds and hundreds. And she also stitches the samples for them. So I will pop some pictures in here. But one in particular caught my eye, and she did actually take me out the back to show me what the finished item looked like, and that is this one. They had quite a lot of circular cross stitch patterns and they looked amazing. And I also thought that the cute little houses and churches were very Dutch, so I wanted to go for this one. It's quite a Christmassy one, so it'll be great for Christmas. And I was going to just buy the pattern, but she said to me that she could put a kit together, and it was really difficult. I was trying to speak English, I don't know any Dutch. She was trying to also speak English. Luckily she was quite good, as a lot of people in the Netherlands are, but cross stitch terms in English, when you're only used to saying them in another language, it's the same as knitting. It's really difficult to translate stuff. But yeah, this is the shop details, and I have a website that I'll link to below as well. This is the picture on the back of her doing her cross stitch and all of the fabrics and cotton that she's got. And the other thing that they do is that they hand paint the cotton, so it's not like run-of-the-mill DMC, it's properly like hand painted. So yeah, she put a kit together for me with some of the hand painted cotton, and this is what they look like. So they do look very red, but they kind of gradiate, or they create a gradient of like a colour changing, which is going to be fabulous. The piece when it was done in the shop looked amazing. She's given me a couple of embroidery needles as well, some gold thread, and the Ada too. And she was just really nice. I think it must have been her husband also sitting in the shop. They had a big table in the centre, and he was just sitting having a cup of tea, asked me if I wanted a coffee or something. So friendly. It's unlikely anyone is going to be in that village for another reason, but if you're nearby, check it out. I've got the link below. And yeah, absolutely fantastic shop. Really nice people, as they often are in the Netherlands as well. So yeah, I look forward to doing that. It's going to be a real labour of love. She said to me that I should make sure that I put my name and the date that I finish it on the back, because it'll be like an heirloom piece, and make sure I frame it when it's done. But yeah, absolutely wonderful. So I'm very much looking forward to starting that as my next cross stitch project. If it's like any of the other ones that my grandmother have done and that friends and family have done before, it'll probably take me years. So I'll keep you updated on how I get on with this, but I'm definitely excited. And then yeah, my friends translated the leaflet for me when I got back to explain, because I hadn't realised that they hand painted the cotton until he said, oh yeah, it says hand painted yarns on here. Sorry for the crinkling. So yeah, fantastic place. Well worth checking out if you are nearby or interested in cross stitch and don't have somewhere more local in the Netherlands. There we go. So that's my cross stitch pattern that I will start. Other things that I have acquired over time is my next section, because it has been quite a long time, and I did go to Unravel in between the last time I recorded and this time. So first of all, my friend has started doing drop spindle spinning, and therefore I got the bug to try some out. So I ended up being quite interested in getting a Turkish spindle, because I know it's quite easy to then take the yarn off the spindle and you have your centre pull ball already. So I got myself a little drop spindle, a Turkish one. Again, ooh, what's going on here? And then it is made out of babinga and maple. I think the maple might be the white and the babinga is the dark wood. And I've just had a little go, which has been quite fun. This is off Etsy, and the shop that I have bought this off is called Tine and Floyd. They have a whole host of different wood options and also different sizes as well. They've got mini Turkish spindles too, so you can even give those a go if you're not willing to spend a bit more on a larger one. And it is fun. I have been able to spin a little bit on it. I feel like I need to stand up when I'm spinning though, so I'm gonna get my friend to kind of give me some tips, because she seems to just be full on into this now, and hopefully I'll get a bit better at it. The other problem with drop spindling is that I am used to a spinning wheel now, and spinning wheels spin things very fast. This is not a fast process, this is a slow craft. So yeah, but yeah, I've managed to do a bit. It works much better than when I first tried drop spindles some time ago, when I thought I'd like to try it, and then I decided, nah, this isn't really, I don't really understand it, this isn't working. And I've just used a little bit of scrap merino that I had to have a go. So yeah, that's my beautiful Turkish spindle. Even if I don't end up using it that much, it's just a beautiful piece of craftsmanship as well. So that's one thing I bought. Now on to Unravel, and this time I was not too over the top in my purchases. I was quite measured. There were specific things that I wanted. I wanted to get some fibre and I wanted to get a bag. And I have ended up with a bag by Alex Collins, and I absolutely love these designs. So Alex, sorry, fluff. Alex also has a YouTube podcast, and she is a screen printer and she makes these bags herself. So the pattern is unique to her shop. I went full on autumn for the bag because I just love the little pumpkins and everything, and I have pretty much just been using this to hold the yarn and knit from for this. I also took it away with me, which is why it's slightly crumpled, and it needs a little bit of a steam to kind of even it out a bit because it was shoved in a suitcase. But yeah, I absolutely love this little bag. It's got an open top, and it is really, really practical just to have sitting next to me on the sofa. So this isn't a bag that I would typically go somewhere with, but it's really great just to have some yarn in as I'm working on a project at home. And then, so that's one purchase. That was my bag purchase. And then I went past the Telling Yarns booth and we just kind of had a look at some of the yarns. I had a few friends with me, and then the lady who runs Telling Yarns said, oh, I've also got a bargain bin. So I ended up buying yarn even though I wasn't planning on it. It was £10 per skein, which seemed really good value, and she had 2 of these and I just completely gravitated towards this colour. It's got a little bit more orange than you can see here, but it is called Dragon, as you might expect. It looks like flames. It is comprised of 50% Blueface Leicester, 30% Romney, 15% Massam, and 5% Zwart Balls. So quite a few different British fibres, and it's in the Resolute fingering weight yarn that they produce. And I don't know what I'm going to do with this. I will probably make a Sophie shawl in red, potentially, but I figured for £20 for 2 skeins of fingering weight yarn. They are 400 meters. They're 3-ply worsted spun. It's unusual for people to actually say that on the label, so props to Telling Yarns. And yeah, that was my yarn purchase for the day. The last purchase was some fibre, and I was going for something new and different. So this is yak and silk. I can't remember off the top of my head the shop name, but the lady was really lovely. She really helped me out to understand what I could, after I'd spun with it, what I could make. And I'm thinking like a little tea or something could be super good. This is only 100 grams, so I don't have a huge amount, but it is pure luxury. I really wanted to try spinning yak. I have worn or made things with yak before, yak merino blends, and I think yak is fantastic. Just the depth that it gives the fibre, because it's slightly brown, and then the softness as well is just amazing. So I am going to have a go at spinning that. A little bit of a shame that it wouldn't go with my other 2 yarns that I spun recently, because it is kind of the right colours, but yeah, I was seeking something green, so I went for this, and I will, apologies, give the shop name in the description below. There you go. I think that is everything. It has probably been almost an hour since I started talking, but thank you so much for watching again. Please do like and subscribe, and I will endeavour to be back as soon as possible. I definitely have my Knitting Mojo back. I mean, like, I'm desperate to keep knitting on my sweater, despite the fact that I put it down for so long, and I'm spinning loads because I love it. So I need to get some of those hand spun yarns on the needles too. And the ideas are just flowing right now. I think autumn's hit and I've gone right back to this. Remember why I love knitting, spinning, weaving, everything. So I'm feeling quite the creative motivation right now, which I hope continues. But yes, thanks again for watching, and I will speak to you soon. Bye.